Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana, and I am in my Beehive studio this morning. If you are watching me from YouTube or maybe even Facebook, this may be a recording for you, but I would like to welcome you anyway. And please feel free to post comments and questions. I go back afterwards and I answer them. So if you aren't able to join me live, please feel like you're part of this anyway. This morning, it's Casing Tuesday. It actually feels like Monday today because yesterday my family was home because of the holiday. And so I feel like I'm starting the week today and it doesn't feel like Tuesday, but it is Tuesday. And I am going to be sharing with you a birthday card today. And this card, of course, we take a card out of the catalog each Tuesday and we designate it as the card to case or copy or makeover, and we take that card and we give it a fresh makeover, or if we really like it, we copy it exactly. And we have a group of bloggers that joins us and they post their cards. They know about the card in advance, but then we invite everyone of our stamping community to join in with us and case the card as well, give it a makeover as well. So please feel free, feel like you are part of our community, that you are not just a bystander. You can join in and share with us. And if you want inspiration, if you're not quite there yet and you want inspiration, just go to our Facebook group. All of the links will be found in the description of this video. So today we have a very happy card with pastel colors to copy, and I kind of kept on the same theme. So I'm going to turn my camera around and I will show you the card that we are going to copy. Okay, my camera has adjusted a bit. It is a bright sunny day, but don't let that fool you. It is bitterly cold out there today. For the past couple of days, my husband and I, we walk every day. For the past couple of days, we have not walked outside because it has been really cold. I do my temperature in Celsius, even though I live in the US, but it was minus 15 Celsius plus a wind chill, so I was like not too impressed and we didn't walk outside. But we have a treadmill, so I did not stop walking. All right, so here is the card that we are copying. It is this card right here. I like all the layers in the paper and it was really pretty. I was tempted to use the same paper, but I thought, let's change it up and use some different paper. So that's what I did. I took this card and you can barely see, there's the polka dot embossing folder. Maybe you can see a bit of it there in the background. Kept the background layer really subtle. And then I used some of that Gingham Gala Designer Series paper. And I love that Designer Series paper because it is so neutral and it's got great, and let me show you, it's got two different, they're both Gingham patterns, but one is smaller and the other one is larger. So it's great because you get 6 sheets, I believe, of each of the 5 colors. And so you have more paper to work with. Typically, in a 6x6 pack, you'll only get 4 of each pattern, and there'll be different, vastly different patterns on both sides. This one, the patterns are kind of the same on both sides, so you know, you just choose which one you want, the bigger checks or the smaller ones. So I really love that paper, highly recommend it. The paper in this card is also really cute, but if you're looking for a more neutral paper, the Gingham Gala is your better choice. So how did I make this card? And I also thought I would change some things around on this card because, hey, we're doing this live. I originally, the card had a greeting across here. And I thought, you know, I kind of just tied the ribbon across. I thought maybe this card does need a greeting on the front. So I'm going to make a different, slightly different version. And you can tell me at the end which version you like better. So to start off, let's do all of our die cutting and embossing first. So I'm just going to grab my big shot here. We are using 2 sets of dies and an embossing folder. Now, some of you might be like, oh, I don't want that to have that many dies. I think when it comes to dies, there are some dies that are really, really useful to have. You want a set of circles, and this one also comes with a set of smooth circles. And these are our new rectangle stitch framelits. And these are really good shapes to have. You do, when you get a set of dies, you probably do want a set of shapes because they're kind of the basic building blocks to a card. So even if you don't get tons of other dies, these dies I think are essential dies to have. So I don't think it's bad to put 2 types on one card. Let's start off with doing our embossing. So I've got my regular platform here and my thin die adapter. So let's move this into my camera view. The thin die adapter is not needed for embossing. So let's get rid of that. And we will need a piece of Highland Heather cardstock, and this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to cover my entire front, and I'm going to put it in the polka dot embossing folder. And welcome to everyone who's joined me this morning. I hope it's not too cold and snowy for you guys where you are. I'm just making sure I line this up because this is it fits that 4 1/4 just barely, so you don't want to have half a polka dot hanging off because that wouldn't look right. So I've got 1 cutting plate down. I'm putting my embossing folder down with the cardstock inside and 1 more cutting plate on top, and then I'm going to run this through. And here is my layer. I'll set that aside. And now let's do the die cutting. So for that, we will need the thin die adapter. So let's bring that back in. And first, let's cut the lemon lime twist layer. I'm just kind of holding this up to make sure I got the right one. This size, let me tell you, the die size is 3 3/8 by 4 3/4 inches. And that is the outside layer. So I cut a piece of cardstock that is just a little bit bigger than that to do my die cutting with. I'm going to put 1 cutting plate down. Try and find my flatter one to put down. These cutting plates have been through a lot of cutting, but they're still going strong. So I'm just going to place this on an angle. It is easiest to cut the rectangular dies if you put them through on an angle, because then you don't have all that pressure of going over one solid line at one time. So I'm just going to put this in and run it through. Okay, let's have a look. So I'm going to pop this out. There's the piece, and I just love that stitching on the edge, so I can set that aside. This, the outer piece, you can discard. I'm not using it for this card, and it would make a rather thin frame for framing purposes, so I really am not going to use it. So that's garbage. So then we need a circle framelit. So let's put a piece of Whisper White. I cut this piece to about 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And I need my second largest scallop circle from the Layering Circles Framelits. And I'm just going to run that through real quick. And grab my circle out of there. Okay, we are done the die cutting, so that's kind of good. Now we need to do some stamping. So I'm going to take my circle framelit, and I need 3 stamps for that. Let me grab all of them. These ones are from the Piece of Cake stamp set, and they are photopolymers, so you can see through them, which is handy. I'm going to use 2 colors, Highland Heather and Smoky Slate. So I'll start off with the Smoky Slate, and I'm going to use it to stamp my cake stand. Move this around just a bit so I'm centered, and let me do the cake stand. Now with the cake stand, you want to stamp it as pretty close to the bottom, because you've got the cake and then you've got the candles to put on top of that. Then we're going to open up the Highland Heather and ink that up. And I'm going to hover it over top of my cake stand, make sure it's centered, and I kind of want the bottom line of the cake to overlap the top line of the cake stand so that they're kind of right next to each other. Okay. Then last but not least, we can get rid of the Highland Heather, and we're going to stamp the candles. Now if you didn't leave yourself enough room, you can mask off. See, look, I didn't leave myself enough room. Let me grab a Post-it note and I'll show you how that works. I've just got really big Post-it notes today. All right, that's okay. So I've got a big 3x3 Post-it note. So use whatever you have. And when you're masking, so I'm going to shorten the candles. So when you're masking, you want to make sure your mask, whatever it is, if you just hold a piece of paper underneath it, or this is a Post-it note, you want to make sure that you can see the line of where you're going to mask on top of. If you put your Post-it note, I'm going to show you, if you cover up that line, you will have a gap between the candles and the cake, because when you're stamping down, that is going to lift up your stamp right there, right on that edge, and that's where it's going to leave a gap. So to create a seamless mask, you want it just below the line you want to stamp on top of. And it also helps, then you can see where you're centering. So now when I ink this up, I can bring my candles down a bit and see the bottom of the candles are now on this Post-it note. And when I lift it off, they are right against the top of the cake. So that's what you want. So if I had stamped this maybe a little bit lower, I wouldn't have had to do that. I could stamp my candles right on top of the cake, but it's okay if you don't. These candles are very tall, so you know, you have to do what you have to do, right? So let's bring in our blends, and I'm going to start off by coloring. Let's start off by coloring the cake. So I'm going to take the same color that I stamped it in, which was Highland Heather, and let's use the bullet tip, and I'm just going to come in. This is the Highland Heather Light, and I'm just going to come around and color around the circles, the polka dots, and I like how I did the polka dot embossing folder, and so now that's going to be repeated with the dots on the cake. So there's like a theme going on, a repetitive theme of polka dots. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's do a few of these little stripes. I do want to leave some white areas for contrast, but I didn't want to introduce yet another color. So, you know, you could do this card in many different colors. then we can come in and color the cake stand, and I'm going to use my Smoky Slate Light for that, and just come along. Actually, my gray, even though it's not really a color, it's more like a shade. It is actually one of the colors I use the most with my Stampin' Blends, because, you know, you always do need shadows and you need a neutral. And I like the Smoky Slate Light because it's light enough not to overpower a stamped image. And then for the candles, I believe I also used some of the soft seafoam, and this is the dark. And since I didn't have, oh, I do have lemon lime twist. Wait a minute. No, that's Granny Apple Green. No, forget that. I don't have a lemon lime twist Stampin' Blend, so I'm using soft seafoam. So I'm using the dark, and I'm just gonna hit the candles. This barely shows up as green, but I like it anyway. There's just a little bit of difference between, I could have done gray candles, but there's a little bit of difference. Then I'm using my Pineapple Punch light and dark. I'll start with the light and the brush tip, and I'm just going to hit each of these candles with kind of a glow. So I went over top of the flame, and I went outside the lines of the flame, and then I'm coming in with my dark, and I'm going to color in the center. So it looks like a flame, like it's glowing. So there's my stamped image. So I'm piling up all my little pieces here that I need. And then I want to do one other thing, which is stamp my greeting. So for that, I need a piece of 3 7/8 by 1/2 inch. And for this, I'm going to use the Happy Birthday stamp, and I'm going to use my Smoky Slate again. And I decided, since this wasn't long enough, I was going to stamp it twice. So this is a piece of Daffodil Delight on Smoky Slates going on top of that. And I'm going to stamp this twice. I'm going to start over here on the far right side and stamp Happy Birthday. And then I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday again right next to it. Sometimes when you need a longer greeting, you can stamp it twice, right? You're very happy it's a happy birthday. So happy birthday, happy birthday. Okay, then we need a couple more things for the card. We need a Gingham Gala layer, and this layer is 3 inches by 4 3/8 inches. So that will go there. And then we need a card base, and I'm going to use Highland Heather for my card base. So I have a piece of 11 inch by 4 1/4 inch cardstock. So that's a 1/2 sheet of cardstock, and I cut it in half at the 5 1/2, scored it in half at the 5 1/2 inch part, and then I folded it to help it lay flat. You can use a bone folder to smooth it down. And then, where did my Tombow go? Oh, it's underneath everything. I like to use Tombow to glue things together. It really helps everything stay in place. So I've got my polka dot layer, and this is going to cover my entire card front. So I want to make sure I get a little bit towards the edges, because I don't want it to kind of stick up funny. So let me get this down, and I'm kind of using my fingers to hold down those corners to make sure it fits along the corners and that it's straight. There. Then I'll take my next layer, which is my Lemon Lime Twist layer with the stitching on it that we cut in the Big Shot. And I will plunk this down and center it. I've got a lot of sunshine coming in this morning. You can probably see some shadows on my work surface, and I've got my curtains drawn. But it is trying to be a sunshiny day, which I don't mind. We need some sunshine because it's so cold. And then my Gingham Gala layer. I hope it's sun shining where you are today, because we have such short sunshine or daylight hours. It's good to get a little sunshine. I try, when I'm eating my lunch, I take it right to the window and actually sit right next to the window, and I'll look outside while I'm eating lunch just to get some light, because I just feel like it's so dark all the time. Now I've got my circle, and this time, of course, I'm not putting ribbon across this layer, so I didn't have to tie ribbon across it. If you wanted to do it like my original card, then you would have had to tie your ribbon earlier. You would have had to tie it before you did this layer. But I'm doing a little differently this time. This one is going to be centered from side to side and top to bottom. Okay. And then I've got my layer of Daffodil Delight. Now I have to decide, because I actually haven't made this card yet. This was just kind of an idea I came up with. So you need to decide where does this make the most sense. I don't know if I like it across the cake. It could come across the platter or the lower platter, or it could come across there. So we've got position 1, which isn't bad, position 2, position 3. I don't know, I kind of like it about there. I don't know why. That, I think, covers up too much the cake. That looks good too. Let me think. Position 2, position 3. I think I'm going to keep it in the lower position, because when it's right here, it's too close to the center. So, okay, I've made up my mind. You know, that's what, you have to do. Sometimes when you're making a card, you kind of keep moving it around and seeing which spot you like a piece of the card to go better. So I'm going to have this come across like this. Okay, and then, because I don't want to not have ribbon on this card, I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon right there. I tied that bow earlier because did you really want to see me tie a bow on camera? Probably, but I didn't want to see me tie a bow on camera. I'm taking a little glue dot right here. I'm putting it on my bow, and then I'm just going to add it right there. Like that. And there is my card. All right, so I have my 2 cards, and I need you to tell me which one you like better. Do you like the one with the ribbon without the greeting, or the one with the greeting? Card number 1 and card number 2. So without is number 1 and with a greeting is number 2. So I'll let you think about that and let me know which card you actually like better. I don't know. For me, I kind of like both of them, because sometimes it's nice to have a greeting on the front of the card, and I think that's what I found with this card. It looked a little plain, but I also like the ribbon running across it. So I don't know. It adds like one more color when you add the yellow coming across. So I don't know. Or maybe I could have done this in Pineapple Punch. It would have been a little brighter too. But I kind of stuck to the colors of the Gingham Gala paper. So I have one person that likes number 2. So that's cool. I'm going to turn my card, my thing around. You can decide which one you still like, number 1 or 2, if you want to let me know in the comments. And let me turn this around. So that piece of cake stamp set, I actually didn't even show it on camera. It's one, I think it's my favorite birthday stamp set in the Occasions catalog. This set has so many different cakes in it, and it has cute little greetings to match, which is always kind of what I look for in a comprehensive stamp set, because some people don't have a ton of money to buy a whole bunch of different stamp sets, so you want to make sure you get your best bang for your buck. And when you have a stamp set that has multiple images and has lots of greetings to match, it's handy. You could also buy the set in a bundle. Here is the matching punch. I didn't use the punch today, and I could have. You could punch like pieces out and then pop them up on dimensionals to give them a little bit more flair. You know, it looks fun. I love having matching punches with my stamp sets, punches or dies, but this one's nice because you do not need a machine, a die cutting machine, to use your punch. So it's something that even if you don't have a lot of supplies yet, a bundle like this with a punch can be a great starter thing for you to get. And if you want to add something onto your order to get up to $50, then you can get this beautiful batch of organdy ribbon, and it's a mess right now because I've used it a lot. There are 5 colors, and it's the organdy ribbon pack. When you spend $50 with Stampin' Up until March 31st, 2019, this ribbon pack is one of your choices. So I used that ribbon on today's card. So it's nice in it. You have the 5 colors that are in the Gingham Gala Designer Series paper pack. So it's a nice paper pack to get so that you match with your organdy ribbon. And so nice little set to put together. I love the color coordination Stampin' Up has to offer. Oh, and here's someone that says, okay, some people like number 1 and some people like number 2. So, well, it's kind of even, I think. So I'm glad you like both cards, and I like that color combination, the Highland Heather with the lemon lime twist. It's kind of like, ooh, right, happy birthday. And that's what we need right now in the dead of winter. We need some bright, happy colors to liven our day because things are a little dreary. I hope that crafting and stamping helps you with your winter doldrums and helps keep your spirits happy. So if you need to find out the measurements or anything about this card, please look in the description of this video. If you want to join our Facebook group and copy cards with us, please do that. The link is down below, and you can just go and visit there as well and see what it's all about. Let me see. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will be doing, I think I'm doing about 2 more Facebook Lives this week, so I hope you will join me for those. Have a great week, guys. Bye.